Breaking news. Welcome to today's headlines. Nnamdi Kanus lawyer, Ēñtāñglēd, is deeply entangled. How it will likely end by Emeka Ugwuoye. Nnamdi Kanus lawyer, Ēñtāñglēd, is deeply entangled. How it will likely end by Emeka Ugwuoye. To my dear listeners, from wherever you're listening from, stay tuned as I read today's news. Let us start from what we know for a certain, and from there we get to what we believe and can analyze. I want the reader to understand my process of presentation. We start from the certain truth and continue to the analytical truth, and from there to hypothesis and conjectural truth. It is easy to understand my writing and my presentation. A certain truth is truth that does not depend on what I think or what you think. It is there for any person with eyes to see. Analytic truth is truth that you get to if you see your mind and connect certain truths. A certain truth requires the use of one of the five senses: seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and feeling by touching. An analytic truth, on the other hand, requires the use of the sixth sense, which is analytic sense. For instance, 2 plus 2, certain truth, is equal to 4, analytic truth. You have 2 and 2, which is a certain truth, but what about 4? 2 plus 2 is certain truth. You can see the two numbers with your eyes, but you can't see 4 with your eyes. It is when you analyze the certain truth, 2 plus 2, that you will arrive at the other truth, the analytic truth, 4. So, 4 is analytic truth. So, in understanding the situation with Nnamdi Kanu case and Barrister Ejiofor's legal problem, we have to combine the certain truth and get to the analytic truth. Certain truth. On the 28th of May 2008, Barrister Ejiofor obtained the sum of 5,600,000 naira from one Mr. Ikechukwu Okpala under a false pretense. It defrauded the man. He forged power of attorney and deed of assignment. Then, he tried to use the forged document to steal somebody's land. Finally, when he was caught, he tried to pay back the money, but he did that fraudulently too by issuing a due check. This act exposed Ejiofor to legal jeopardy, which means that he knew in his conscience that he might be caught, and if caught, he would be prosecuted, and if prosecuted, he would probably go to prison for up to 15 years. This is certain truth because it is contained in the charge pending against Ejiofor in FCT Court number 3, Mataima, Abuja. As a reasonable person would expect, the above actions of Ejiofor were reported to EFCC in 2015. In other words, for 7 years, Ejiofor failed to give Mr. Ikechukwu Okpala back his money because Ejiofor already had the money and did not have money to pay back. The EFCC arrested Ejiofor, obtained damaging and implicating statement from Ejiofor, and in 2016, the EFCC filed 5-count criminal indictment against Ejiofor. And from that moment, Ejiofor was standing trial for fraud and forgery, with very damaging evidence and admissions from him. This is a certain truth too. In the same 2016, Nnamdi, who was arrested in October of 2015, engaged the service of Ejiofor, not knowing that Ejiofor was facing criminal charges and that Ejiofor had made damaging and self-implicating admissions to the EFCC and was actually begging EFCC for a plea bargain. Also, Ejiofor failed to inform either Nnamdi or anyone close to him that he, Ejiofor, was at the mercy of the same Nigerian government and that he might not be able to fight the government in any case involving treasonable or terrorism charges. This is also a certain truth. Between 2016 and present, Ejiofor acted as Nnamdi's lawyer and as lawyer for IPOB in very sensitive cases where he ought to be fighting the Nigerian government and seeking to hold the government to the tenets of the constitution. In his capacity as Nnamdi's lawyer, Ejiofor ought to be able to challenge the government without any appearance of fear or favor. This is also a certain fact. Based on our knowledge of the role of a defense lawyer in criminal cases, he fights the government, more so in politically sensitive trials like trials for treason and terrorism. We also know as a fact that with IPOB prescribed, Ejiofor actually became the only visible representative of IPOB in Nigeria. To my dear listeners, now we've come to the end of our today's news. Please do drop by at the comment section and let us know what your view is all about. Thank you for listening.